Okay, so we're going to look at the slope. So there's loads of different ways they can ask you at the slope. So I think I have a lot of them here. There's 6 of them. So what we'll do in this video is we go through each of the ways they could ask you to identify the slope. So the first one is when given an equation. So we'll actually fly through each of these first. So when you're given an equation, that's like the question just right here, the first part. And then if you're given 2 points, so that you know you're going to use your formula. And when you're told the slope is parallel, so you have to remember when slopes are parallel, the slopes are the same. When slopes are perpendicular, you know that if you multiply the 2 slopes by each other, you get -1. And an easy way to find a perpendicular slope is flip the fraction, change the sign. They could ask you to, could give you a list of different possible slopes, values, and they could give you a graph and get you to match each line that they've drawn to the values. Or they could just draw it on a graph and ask you to find the slope, and you could use your rise over run method, or you could pick 2 points again and find your slope. So you need to be really familiar with all of them. So we'll try fly through this video. So L is a line, 3x plus 2y plus 18 equals 0, find the slope. Okay, so you know straight away you're going to the slope. If you look at your log tables, you know it says slope is m, and the formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's not going to help us here. If you think y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, you need 2 points. We don't have 2 points in this question. So there's another thing we use. So in your log table, so I've just cut this from your log tables equation line. That bottom one there is what's going to help us. So, because we know m means slope, so it's something to do with that. So if we write out y equals mx plus c, we know if we get our y on its own and then the number in front of the x is going to be the slope. So we'll format we'll format the line L exactly how they want us to. So we leave the y on the left hand side, so the y here, so it's already on the left hand side, so I'll just leave it there. Then I'll put my equals next. Then my x has to come next, but it's on the right hand side. So here my L is on, or x is on the left hand side. So if I bring that across, it becomes minus 3x. And then my plus c is the number on its own. So the 18, that has to cross as well and go to the right hand side. So it's going to be minus 18. We want to find y, not 2y. So we need to get rid of the 2. So find y on its own. That means that the 2 divides, because 2 of them are stuck together here. So if you bring it across, it becomes a divisor. So that leaves us y is equal to minus 3x over 2 minus 18 over 2, which will give us just 9, minus 9. So we know that the m is our slope, which is the number in front of the x. So here the number in front of the x is minus 3 over 2, because you have your y, your equals, your x, your c. So m, your slope for this equation, is equal to minus 3 over 2, as it's the number in front of the x. So just rewatch that video if you didn't understand that, but it should be pretty straightforward. And the next one is find the slope. So we said if you're given 2 points. So this one's not so bad. Okay, so I'm just unpausing myself, so I might be repeating myself here a little bit, but okay, we have to find the slope of AB. So if this is when we're given 2 points. So when we're given 2 points, it's actually quite easy. You go to your log tables and you see the formula is given there. You know that m is slope. So you know there's an x1, y1, x2, y2. So you know you're just going to label your points and sub them in. So it's pretty straightforward. So fill into our formula. So we have y2, which is 3, minus y1, which is 3, all over x2, which is minus 4, subtract x1, which is minus 9. So I have 3 minus 3, which is 0, all over minus 4 plus 9. It's going to be 0 over 5. Anytime there's a 0, your calculator will tell you anyway it's 0. So your slope here, so the slope of MB is equal to 0. Right, so next one, when they talk about parallel slopes. Parallel slopes are the same. So if they talked about the first question here, so about L, if they talk about a parallel slope, it would also be minus 3 over 2. They talked about question 2, a parallel slope to this would also be 0. In this question, it says the line L is parallel to the line K. Find the slope of L when K is equal to this. Okay, so we know that the slopes are going to be the exact same because they talk about them being parallel. So we'll try find the slope of this question. So we know we're going to use the format y equals mx plus c. Let's format it. So we'll have our 2y equals, so what we have to bring across the equals, we have to bring across the 4x, becomes minus, and bring across the minus 11, which becomes plus. We don't want to find 2y, we want to find y, so we're going to divide all by 2 because the 2 and the y we're multiplying. That will leave us at minus 4x over 2 plus 11 over 2. So y is equal to minus 2x plus 5.5, or 11 over 2. The number in front of the m is the number in front of the x is the slope, so in this case m was equal to minus 2. So that was the m of the line k, but we know that therefore they're parallel, that's our sign for parallel. M of L was equal to minus 2 as well. This question here is just a repeat of the first question we did here. So 3x plus 2y equals plus 18 equals 0. So we found m is equal to minus 3 over 2. So I'm not going to do that out again. Minus 3 over 2. Right, so then we needed that part, the slope, sorry, for the second question, because it says the line K is perpendicular to L and cuts the x-axis at a point. Find the equation of K. Now I'm going to do a video on equation of the line anyway, but this you should know anyway without me doing that video that for an equation of a line you need a point and you need a slope. The fact that they say it's perpendicular, that really has to stand in your head. Perpendicular slopes, when you multiply them by each other, they'll give you minus 1. So if the slope of the line L is equal to minus 3 over 2, which we worked out previously, and we know the slope of K is perpendicular to that, we know that we change the sign so it becomes a plus and flip it, 2 over 3. So our slope of K is 2 over 3 because it was perpendicular to it. So important that we know that. Can't phrase or emphasize that enough. And you have to remember that if they ask you to prove that two slopes are perpendicular, what you would do to prove it is you just say minus 3 over 2, so your slope of L multiplied by your slope of K, and when you put that into your calculator you get minus 1, therefore they're perpendicular. So if anytime they ask you to prove, you know that you have to show that when they're multiplied equals minus 1. So anyway, back to this question. It said find the equation of K. So we need to know, we know for the equation of a line we need to know the point. So they gave us a point here. They told us 7, 0 is our point. And we need to find the slope. So we said it was perpendicular, therefore the slope was 2 over 3. So when we're trying to find the equation line, you'll go to your log tables, you'll find your equation and you'll fill in. So you'll have y minus, so this is x1, y1. So y minus 0 is equal to 2 over 3 on x minus 7. This is actually good to see because the video that I made of this didn't show it. The 3 is the divisor, so that get rid of a divisor, we cross the equal, so it'll be 3 on y minus 0 equals the 2 is just left then, minus 7. So we'll have 3y minus 0, because anything by 0 will just give you 0, 2x minus 14. Get your x, your y to the same side, minus 14, and let it all equal to 0. That's your equation of your perpendicular line, or your line K. Right. Next one is it has matching slopes to a given value. Okay, so we obviously know, so you have to remember that if you have your axis here, if it goes from left to right, you always read your axis from left to right. If it goes up, it's positive. And if the line goes down, always from left to right. So just in the exact same way as we read from left to right. So if it goes down from left to right, it's negative. So the first thing we can say from these graphs is K is positive, because from left to right it goes up. N, if I look at that line, goes down, so that's negative. M is positive because it goes up. J, that's negative because it goes down from left to right. And L is going to be 0 because it actually didn't go up or down. So the first thing we can fill in is L. You have to remember the steeper the slope, the higher the number. So if we look at K, that's steeper than, so we look at the positives. K is steeper than M, so obviously K is going to be the higher number. And M is going to be the lower negative number or positive number. And the same for the negative graph. So